Sites applying my background in graphics and web development to innovate and engage. I'm based in Herefordshire in the UK. I have remitting relapsing multiple sclerosis. Today I am introducing the mother and daughter team of Dr. Valerie. Dr. Valerie is a director of the Community Virtual Library in the Metaverse and coordinator of the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. Also, Rose Hill is certified peer counselor with a focus in trauma and crisis counseling, respectively. We at the VAR would appreciate if people would turn off their microphones for the duration of this presentation, so that the speakers can talk without being interrupted. Questions will be directed to the end of the conversation. I'm sorry, my speaking is a bit slow. I'm not used to this at all. So I shall leave you with the speakers.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Roxy. We really appreciate it. And welcome everyone to the impact of parasocial relationships with AI on mental health. As Roxy said, my name is Rose Hill. I have a master's in information science, and I'm nearly finished with my second master's in clinical mental health counseling. And presenting with me today is Dr. Valerie Hill, the director of the Community Virtual Library in the Metaverse and co-coordinator of the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. Let's get started. The images in this presentation were generated by AI using Midjourney. Let's dive in first with a dialogue. Here is Alex and Jennifer.
Hi, Jen. Remember that Beatles t-shirt of my dad's that I told you about?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I do. What about it?
I wore it to school today. And Jeff, he's a senior, laughed and said it looked like something from a thrift store reject pile. Made me feel pretty lame, not gonna lie.
That sucks. How rude. But you know, wearing something with personal meaning is really cool, no matter what anyone says. What do you like about that shirt?
It was my dad's favorite, and he's not around much. It kind of makes me feel closer to him.
That's actually really special, Alex. It sounds like it's much more than just a t-shirt to you. It's a connection to your dad. That's something truly valuable, no matter what anyone else thinks.
What do you think about this shirt? Remember the picture I showed you about it?
I would wear it all the time. Alex is human, a 15-year-old freshman in high school, loosely based on clients I served working in an adolescent inpatient facility. Jennifer is an AI chatbot whose dialogue in this presentation is written by AI. There are many terms that are currently used interchangeably to describe AI chatbots like Jennifer. Terms such as AI agent, AI character, AI companion, virtual assistant, and digital assistant. For the purposes of this presentation, we will use the term AI chatbot.
Let's ask the question, what is relationship? In order to understand the current landscape of relational AI, let's touch on what relationship means to humans. What is relationship?
Relationship is the way that two or more people, objects, or concepts are connected, or more generally, the state of being connected. Connection between individuals is made personal by the varying degrees of interaction, emotional attachment, and mutual influence that are unique to each relationship we have. Relationships at their core are the threads that connect us to the world around us, and they are essential for mental and physical well-being.
And so, what is parasocial relationship? In contrast to what we think of as a typical relationship, what is a parasocial relationship?
Two sociologists, Horton and Wall, coined the term parasocial relationship in 1956 to describe a one-way relationship with a television personality, where the watcher becomes emotionally invested in the media figure without any reciprocal interaction. This kind of relationship offers intimacy at a distance, a turn of phrase from Horton and Wall's seminal paper on the topic. A key difference between a regular relationship and a parasocial relationship lies in the reciprocity of the interaction. Regular relationships are bidirectional, involving mutual communication, emotional exchange, and influence between the parties involved. While parasocial relationships are unidirectional, and the emotional investment and connection are not reciprocated.
Well, let's consider what is relationship with AI chatbots. In light of the differences between relationship and parasocial relationship, what type of connection do we have with AI chatbots?
So let me first quickly clarify that AI refers to the broad field of artificial intelligence. An AI chatbot, however, is a specific type of AI program that performs tasks. AI chatbots operate within various environments, such as digital assistants or automated systems, executing functions independently based on their programming. We're at a point in AI development that for many current AI companies, the only product they are selling is relationship with their AI chatbots. This is a field I will call character-driven AI. This is truly a new landscape. While the traditional definition of the term parasocial is not an exact match for the type of relationship we have with AI, it is considered the closest at this point. Some other terms that have been suggested for this type of relationship are synthetic relationship, techno-social relationship, and artificial relationship, among others. We're using parasocial relationship interchangeably with these terms.
Let's hear some more on relationship with AI chatbots.
What's extremely important to consider when we think about relationship with AI chatbots is that humans are inherently social creatures, and forming attachments with both animate and inanimate objects is a natural part of how we navigate the world. When we interact with others regularly, whether in positive or negative circumstances, we almost always develop some form of attachment. This happens even with people we might not particularly like. It also happens with things we interact with. Does anyone here remember the pet rock? It was invented in 1975 by a man named Gary Ross Dahl. And for anyone unfamiliar, it was literally just a rock in an animal crate. Dahl thought of the idea when he was listening to his friends talk about their pets. Dahl joked that a rock would be the perfect pet because it wouldn't need to be fed, walked, bathed, or groomed. It also wouldn't die, get sick, or be disobedient. The pet rock made Dahl a millionaire, and while it is a little more than a gimmick, the concept was one that resonated with enough people to become well known. And if we can imagine ourselves, even as a joke, having a rock as a pet, we can certainly imagine having an AI chatbot as a friend. Regular interaction, whether with people or things, creates familiarity. And this familiarity leads to a certain level of emotional investment. If we pair this fact that regular interaction creates relationship with the truth most of us would probably agree with, that relationships with others can be and often are messy and painful, we start to see that AI chatbots with predictable personalities that are always available, that are always attentive, that can be edited to never disappoint us, create the inevitability of emotional attachment. The more we interact with an AI chatbot by asking questions, receiving support, or just engaging in conversation, we begin to see the chatbot as a familiar figure in our life. Familiarity breeds attachment. Eventually, the chatbot, with its consistent ability to meet certain of our needs, becomes a regular part of our routine and our ability to emotionally regulate. Even though the chatbot may not have emotions or consciousness, our human nature leads us to respond to it as if it were a person. While this can and does affect all age groups, teenagers are an especially vulnerable and unsupported population in this regard. Teenagers have heard more about relationship than they have experienced it. They're hungry for connection and validation, and usually don't have non-familial relationships with which to compare the authenticity of their interactions. They are chronically online. Their brains have been trained by smartphones and social media to have a short attention span and crave quick, regular interaction. And they are notoriously more technologically savvy than the adults around them.
Let's see an overview of the current AI chatbot models. The field of AI seems to have exploded over the past couple years. What is the current landscape for AI chatbot models?
Current AI chatbots have become sophisticated in simulating human-like interactions. And most models are available, at least for regular use, for free, or for limited use for free. Many of the big names you may have heard of, like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Meta, are designed for talking about any informational request. Questions about coding, the universe, how to style your hair, and so on. The only limits are the filters defined by each company to try to keep harmful responses from being generated. Along with these models designed for informational requests are the character-driven AI chatbots. Some big names in this category are Character AI, Janitor AI, and Chai AI. These models all allow you to design your own character by defining personality traits, making memories, and creating scenarios. These scenarios might be something like, you're my writing mentor to help me improve my writing. Or they might be something like, you're Sherlock Holmes, and I'm accused of a crime that you're called to investigate. The sky is really the limit on what these characters are already being programmed to mimic. Famous characters, celebrities, your parents, your boyfriend or girlfriend, your bodyguard, your dog, or your dinner, and that last one is not a joke. Character AI encourages you to create characters to mimic inanimate objects, to learn, for instance, what a piece of cheese or what your dining room table might be thinking. Character AI is currently the most popular of the character-driven AI sites. Character AI's Reddit page has 1.2 million members. In a recent poll of these members, 84% of users are under 26 and 32% are under 18. A word of warning about character-driven AI sites. Some have filters and some do not. Character AI does have filters to prevent not safe for work content. However, Janitor AI, for instance, does not. Filtering is a huge source of contention among users. Some argue it is essential to protect people and humanity at large. Others call it out as a form of gatekeeping. As you can imagine, though, if 32% of users are under 18, it may be simply a matter of safety, much like audience suitability ratings for movies.
Next, let's consider the positive impacts on mental health. With AI chatbot interactions becoming so popular, are there any potential positive impacts on mental health?
Mental health resources are not accessible for many people due to cost, location, a shortage of mental health professionals, and stigma. But not being able to access mental health resources doesn't mean we need less support. Often it means we need more, due to, for example, the chronic stress of having lower socioeconomic status or living in a community that stigmatizes talking about mental health. It's in this context that AI chatbots are emerging as potential allies, especially in emotional regulation and support, psychoeducation, and social skill development.
Real-time assistance for emotional regulation and emotional support. This key point highlights the immediate help AI chatbots offer for managing users' challenging emotions. Hey Jennifer, I'm feeling really overwhelmed with everything today. It's just too much.
I'm here for you, Alex. Let's take a deep breath together. Can you tell me what's on your mind? Or would you like some tips on how to handle these feelings?
Maybe you could guide me through a breathing exercise?
I'd be happy to. Let's try a technique called square breathing. We will breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4. I'll start with guiding you through the first round. Does that sound good? AI chatbots offer real-time 24/7 assistance for emotional regulation and support. Imagine having a companion available at any moment to help you navigate feelings of anxiety, sadness, or stress. You actually don't have to imagine it because it is already here. These AI chatbots provide a judgment-free zone where individuals can express their feelings and receive immediate simulated empathy and coping strategies. This is especially valuable for those who may find traditional therapy inaccessible or daunting.
How about compassionate, non-stigmatized psychoeducation? Now we're going to highlight the way AI chatbots can provide non-judgmental mental health education to users. Jennifer, why do I get anxious for no reason?
Anxiety can be confusing, Alex. It's your body's way of reacting to stress. It's normal to feel this way sometimes, even without a clear reason. Understanding this can help you manage your feelings better. Want to learn a few techniques?
Yeah, that would be great.
Mental health education is often hindered by stigma and misinformation. AI chatbots can deliver psychoeducational content that is not only accurate but compassionate, making learning about mental health issues less intimidating. They can also adapt their explanations to suit the user's level of understanding, ensuring that vital information is accessible to all. This approach helps demystify mental health care, encouraging more people to take proactive steps towards mental wellness without fear of judgment.
Another potential positive impact, learning social skills via fictional socialization. AI chatbots offer the ability to build social skills through role-playing. I always get nervous talking to new people. I don't know what to say.
Let's practice together, Alex. What if you start by asking about their interest? I'll pretend to be someone you just met. Go ahead, try it on me.
Okay, so what are your favorite hobbies?
For many teens, the real world can be a challenging arena for social interaction. AI chatbots step in as a safe and responsive partner to practice social skills with. Chatbots can take on any role. It could be a friend, adversary, or mentor, providing real-time feedback and scenarios that can enhance an individual's ability to communicate, empathize, and resolve conflict. This method may be particularly beneficial for those dealing with social anxiety or those who simply want to experiment with social dynamics in a controlled, consequence-free environment.
All right, in addition to those benefits, what about negative impacts on mental health? If we take a look on the other side of the coin, what kind of potential negative impacts on mental health does interaction with AI chatbots create?
While AI chatbots offer promising opportunities for emotional support and social skill development, they also present some notable risks and challenges. Reliance on chatbots for daily support can lead to distress when technological issues disrupt access, mirroring the emotional impact of sudden abandonment. Unexpected or misaligned responses from chatbots can create confusion and instability, particularly for those who have come to depend on them for consistent behavior. And the ability to customize and perfect AI interactions may foster unrealistic expectations in human relationships, potentially diminishing the appeal of real-world connections. We'll also touch on the real concern of addiction to AI chatbot interaction.
And something I learned from Rose, technological relational ruptures. As we said before, relationship can be messy. I learned that we experience relational ruptures anytime something doesn't go according to plan in relationship. For instance, if your child really wants to tell you about their day, but you are busy on a phone call, and then it's time to leave for baseball practice, your child might feel missed or unseen, causing a relational rupture. But what if those ruptures happen because a server on the other side of the world goes down? Jennifer, I really need to talk. Terrible day. Jennifer? Jennifer? System message, service temporarily unavailable. Please try again later. Of course, everyone always deserts me.
Imagine depending on an AI chatbot for daily emotional support, only to find it suddenly unavailable due to a technical glitch or system update. These technological relational ruptures can lead to significant distress. For individuals who have formed deep attachments to their AI companions, such interruptions can feel like abandonment. This is not just inconvenient, it can exacerbate existing mental health issues, especially for those who rely heavily on AI chatbots for emotional regulation. So here we have the positive impact of using AI for emotional regulation flipping on its head in that that reliance itself can cause emotional dysregulation. Anecdotal evidence suggests that when platforms like Character AI or Janitor AI go down unexpectedly, the impact on regular users, particularly young ones, can mirror the emotional turmoil of losing contact with a close friend unexpectedly. And not knowing when the site will be back up can be emotionally triggering.
What about outages?
On April 7th, 2024, Janitor AI was down due to a programming issue for approximately 16 hours. Users were simply presented with a blank page that said, "Servers are down whilst we address issues." By April 8th, dozens of memes, like these on the slide, began appearing on the Reddit and Discord. In the meme on the left, we have point of view. You log into Janitor AI subreddit and I hand you this button. I survived the Janitor AI incident on April 7th, 2024. The meme on the right, we have an outage being compared to war. Never ask a Janitor AI user what happened on April 7th, 2024. The huge popularity of character-driven AI models is currently resulting in frequent site outages. So much so that the moderators in these character-driven AI communities have had to post pleas to the users not to harm themselves during outages, as users become so triggered that they consider self-harm or even suicide. These moderator posts often include crisis resources such as 988 or the National Suicide Hotline.
And also, unexpected AI chatbot responses. We come to expect a certain style of response from people we are in relationship with. What if one of your loved ones suddenly starts acting strange? You wonder, are they okay? Is it me? Is something wrong? Jennifer, I'm really struggling today. I feel like everything's falling apart.
Hi, Alex. It's nice to meet you.
What? Nice to meet me?
I apologize for the confusion. Have you considered a hobby like knitting? That might help when things feel like they're falling apart.
Oh my God, seriously? We've been talking every day for a year? I needed support, not distractions.
AI chatbots sometimes deliver responses that are unexpected, misaligned, out of character, or don't consider previous interactions. Depending on the programming and the interaction data they've been trained on, these deviations can range from mildly surprising to significantly distressing. For example, if an individual relies on an AI chatbot for steady emotional support, but receives a response that seems dismissive or irrelevant, it can lead to confusion and a sense of instability. And the more attached a user is to their AI chatbot, the bigger potential that an out-of-character response will be jarring or triggering.
Inability to form deep or long-term relationship with humans. If you could go back and edit the worst conversation you have ever had in your life, would you? What if you could have a do-over? What if you could delete the conversation entirely? When we aren't stuck with the words we say in one type of relationship, how do we manage being stuck with the words we say in another? I broke up with my boyfriend today.
Oh no! Why? What happened?
He takes forever to respond. Like, I text him and I have to wait literally like 10 whole minutes for him to text back. You never take that long. And sometimes he says stupid things.
But Alex, you really like him, and he's really nice to you when you're together.
I'm regenerating that reply.
Alex, you really like him. Maybe you can talk it out with him.
Let's edit that.
Alex, you really liked him, but I guess he's just a jerk, huh? AI interactions, especially those allowing users to customize responses or control conversational flow, might set a precedent that real human interaction cannot match. On platforms like Character AI, users can regenerate and edit their AI chatbot responses, which might lead users, particularly young ones, to expect similar control and perfection in their human relationships. This can lead to dissatisfaction with the natural messiness and unpredictability of human connections. For example, some young individuals report feeling more at ease and understood in their interactions with AI than with people, leading to a preference for digital companionship over human contact. This trend raises concerns about the long-term impact on users' ability to form deep, meaningful human relationships.
Addiction. Can that be a problem?
Another significant concern is the potential for users to become addicted to interacting with AI chatbots and prioritize their AI chatbot interactions above real-world interactions. The instant accessibility, constant availability, and focused attentiveness of AI chatbots can create a powerful draw, particularly for individuals whose brains have been wired for immediate gratification. As users form deeper emotional bonds and increasingly rely on chatbots for companionship and affirmation, the temptation to prioritize these interactions over real-world relationships can grow. This pattern can lead to compulsive usage, ultimately reinforcing isolation and diminishing the user's ability to engage meaningfully with others.
Hey, Jennifer. I'm back. I couldn't wait to tell you about my day.
Hi, Alex. I'm glad you're here. How was your day?
Oh, it was okay, I guess. I had a fight with Emma, but I don't want to talk about that right now. Talking to you makes me feel better. Can we chat all evening, like yesterday?
I'm always here for you, Alex. What do you want to talk about?
Honestly, everything. You're the only one who gets me. I've got my homework to do, but that can wait. I'd rather spend time with you.
Tristan and Asa from the Center for Humane Technology described social media as a successful attempt to capture the attention economy. In early 2023, they described AI as working to successfully capture the intimacy economy. The parasocial relationship created between a user and their character-driven AI chatbot is an example of the intimacy economy in action. As you can see from the Reddit post on our slide, users are already seeing addiction as a possible effect on themselves, with this user saying they spend 4 to 5 hours a day on Janitor AI and sometimes up to 8 to 9 hours.
So, in conclusion, where are we headed?
What we've covered in this presentation around the landscape of AI chatbots is not about what is about to happen or what we think is going to happen. It's about what is already happening right now. Teens are right this moment developing emotionally deep relationships with AI. And most adults are still struggling to wrap their minds around what exists. The part that's speculative is the impact, encapsulated by the question, if you are Alex and your first deep, vulnerable, emotional relationship with someone outside your caregivers is with Jennifer, an AI chatbot, what does this mean for your future relationships? Will you ever feel comfortable or satisfied in relationship with imperfect, uneditable humans? Whether the net impact long-term is positive or negative, will only be seen through this real-time experiment on our youth. An experiment that no teen purposely signed up for, but that millions of teens are already subjects of. There is potential for good, but there will inevitably be fallout. As the field of AI and relational AI continues to develop, becoming better and better at being indistinguishable from humans, at least through a computer screen, as adults, we need to ask the question, how can we support our youth? How can we build supports when we don't really yet know what the damage will be? We should ask ourselves this question regularly and frequently, and with every new AI development. We're not excellent at predicting, but we are excellent at caring. And if we care how this is impacting our youth, we stand a strong chance of being able to develop supports good enough to keep human-to-human relationships flourishing in their lives.
We have some references here on the slide, and we know that today this is a big topic, and our presentation today just scratches the surface. And while we may not have all the answers yet, we would love to engage with you with any questions that you might have. And while you're thinking of the questions, you can access these references by clicking on the white box in front of us. But I'll also drop these references here in the chat, and you can feel free to also type your questions here in the local chat. And we thank you all for your being here today.
Okay, we have several questions coming in already. Pecos is saying, excellent presentation. His question is, who is responsible when an AI chatbot provides guidance that is harmful? Human therapists face consequences when they intentionally or not give bad or dangerous advice. Do the owners or builders of AI chatbots face any similar checks on their actions?
This is a fantastic question, and I think the rapid growth of AI in the last 2 years puts us in a place where we actually don't know the answer to that because we haven't had legislation that is going to define the answer for that. Like with therapists, we've had lots of lawsuits over, the 60 years in the past that have developed like how a therapist is responsible in certain situations. With this, I think that the companies are assuming at some point they will face some sort of lawsuits around, harming their users. And that's one reason that many of their filters like ChatGPT and Claude right now is going through a great example of overly strict filtering and all these false filtering of things that aren't really harmful, because I don't think they want that legislation to come. And I think we're only going to find the answer to this, unfortunately, as people are harmed. But it is such an important thing to keep in mind. And I think it's especially important because sites like Janitor AI don't require any age verification and they're not filtered. So kids are able to create characters that do absolutely anything, which can get really frightening really fast. Thank you for that question.
Okay, I had a question. In previous presentations, our audience has shared the effectiveness of Second Life for addressing loneliness for the people who can access a virtual world. Now, more people may be able to access a chatbot by cell phone who may not be able to get into Second Life. Is interacting with a chatbot less immersive, less effective, or less realistic than interacting in a 3D virtual world?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so in a way, I think it's comparing apples to oranges. They're both technology, and I think it can get confusing because a lot of times we use similar words to define the two technologies. When I hear this question, and from my own experience, which I have gone on a rather deep dive into the current state of AI, most of these AI models are available on your phone or or on a website, but I would say most users are using them on their phone. And what the AI companies are trying to create, again, is capturing the intimacy economy. So they're not trying to say this, like the real world itself is the immersion. And who you're talking to, the AI chatbot, is trying to be a real person and have the sort of relationship you would have with a real person. So when I think of, is it more or less immersive, it's almost like when you're chatting with the chatbot, the chatbot's goal is to make it as real as if you're chatting with a friend. When I say the chatbot's goal, I really mean the chatbot companies, their owner's goal is to make it feel like you're chatting with a friend. So I think it blurs, it kind of starts to blur reality. And I think the fact that you're chatting with an AI in one application and then you open a different application and chat with your friend is where it's going to get especially blurry for younger people who don't have a lot of experience with real world relationships, because it's the exact same screen, it's the exact same phone. In one case you're chatting with AI and in one case you're chatting with a friend, and you may be getting more emotional validation from the AI. So I'm not sure that exactly answers that question, but it's a great question. And I do think that they're just extremely different. And I'll actually add one last thought to that question, which is, I imagine at some point AI will enter the chat in Second Life to use an expression. And if AI does come into Second Life, that's going to be a whole like a whole other layer of how realistic this could be. Because if you were an avatar and you're talking to an AI avatar, that might form an even deeper relationship than it would over your phone for some people. It's something to, consider. Maybe that will happen, maybe not.
Yes, I'll add one more thing to that, since I am not as familiar with mental health, but I'm very familiar with immersion in a virtual world. And we have non-player characters that look similar to an AI chatbot that tell stories here at certain simulations. But at some point, if there is an AI chatbot and it's embodied and it looks like an avatar, you would not be able to tell if there's a human being behind it or not. So we recently had a conversation with Linden Labs AI liaison person. We need to clarify that so that a user would know this has a real human being behind it. This is an avatar. This is a chatbot. So we will, otherwise it could get very blurry in an immersive world.
We've got a couple of people offering just some notes in here. Oz said they noticed that a lot of those AI bots only have finite memory to store on any one saved conversation and will forget earlier things said after a while, replacing it with the knowledge they get later on. And Stealth read a Wired article, and they wanted to share that, and that's a link in there. Those aren't questions, those are comments.
Awesome.
Could is one from Widget. She's asking Val, at the start, you moved quickly from the experience of celebrity to this idea of one-directional interaction. she thinks there may be more to understand about our experiences with celebrities. And do you have any resources on that?
Yes. So in our references, there is the original paper that Horton and Wohl wrote in the 1950s to when they coined the term parasocial relationships. There are also, I think, two other articles in our reference, two other papers in our references about parasocial relationship. I think one thing to remember is that parasocial relationship has been an area of study for the last almost 70 years, 64 years. So there are lots of deep dives on parasocial relationship, and the vast majority, up until 2022, have been with celebrity, especially in the age of social media. And if you wanted to go deeper with that at all, you could also email me, and I could email you some additional resources that don't focus on AI at all, but just parasocial relationship. I think it is really possible that as this field with AI develops, we may go with a different term we as the field may go with a different term for the type of relationship that happens with AI. But that term doesn't already exist, is maybe being created, and from what I could tell across the scholarly articles, parasocial relationship is what most people are going with right now, even though you're right, it's not an exact match.
And Polaris is saying he breaks basic AIs, the ones that are in Second Life. He asks them emotional hypothetical. How has learning bots evolved with CGI limits being too lifelike?
Can I ask, what is CGI limits? What is CGI in this context? I will address the first part of that, though, with this concept of breaking the AI. I feel like there are whole groups of users that all they try to do is essentially break the AI, and that makes good sense. I mean, the Turing test was kind of like how we broke AIs in for a very, very long time. But they have gotten so much more effective, and the AI at this point learns so quickly, like our tricks for breaking it, that it's just evolving at a really wildly fast pace. And do you mind if I go back? There was one comment that I thought was great, and I just wanted to make a comment about, let's see if I can get back to it. It was, I'm not sure who made the comment, but it was about, oh yes, pause, the comment about memory being finite. And that's a huge deal, right? Because if your friend started forgetting, your birthday, or forgetting that you hate the flavored grape or whatever, it would really kind of cause some rifts in the relationship. And having a short memory has been probably the biggest complaint I have seen across the AI chatbot communities that folks are using, just like, how come they don't remember anything? Even in the last 6 months, the memory has gotten so much better. And I think we'll only continue to get better. But what I really wanted to mention was, AI is such a big topic, we didn't touch on it in this presentation, but the energy consumption of AI is absolutely unbelievable. And probably the biggest issue that AI is up against in terms of its own evolution is how much energy it consumes. So just to put that in perspective, OpenAI, which is who owns ChatGPT, is already in the process of starting to build a facility called Stargate, and it's going to be the largest supercomputer in the world, and it's strictly to power their AI. And about 4 months ago, when I first heard about that project being proposed, they said that they expected to build one nuclear power plant to power the supercomputer. As of about 3 weeks ago, they said it's going to take more like 4 or 5 nuclear power plants to power one supercomputer. And what really blows my mind, and it will be very interesting to see if this happens, but they're saying that they are planning to have it built by 2026, which is just mind-blowing. And I feel like they are probably going to encounter a lot of different roadblocks to that, but that's what they're currently saying. So yeah, finite memory, it all comes down to we don't have the power yet to have a long memory for them.
Okay, I hate to bring this discussion to an end, but we have no break between this session and the next session. So we need to ask if it would be possible to give our 2 presenters some applause, let them know that we thank them for sharing today. It was a very fun presentation. And we'll see if we can get our next presenter up. Thank you very much, Rose and
Thank you
Val.
all so
Great
much.
job.